thanks for joining. And yeah, also for me, cool to have in-person events again. Today, we have lots of service keynotes, so I think I'm one of the brands that are really selling in e-commerce, having a keynote today. My topic today is about how to run a bootstrapped direct-to-consumer company in a complex industry like home and living, with a focus on furniture. So lots of buzzwords in it, like D2C, bootstrap, complexity and stuff, but generally everything applies for Mokebo. So I want to go in a little bit more detail how we defined our operations in our business to run an e-commerce company which is run without investors, and what like our approaches to things are. Let me introduce myself real quick. I'm Philipp. I'm one of the two co-founders of Mokebo. One of the two co-founders from Mokebo. Before I joined or launched Mokebo, I was working for Amazon for about 5 years in different positions. I started building up the marketplace, launched Amazon Prime Music Unlimited music service as a product manager, and then founded Mokebo in 2018 together with my best friend Momo. And yeah, so in total, some e-commerce experience on my side, experience about marketplaces, and yeah, lots of DNA about e-commerce for me. Mokebo is a direct-to-consumer brand. That means we sell products directly to the end consumer. We don't use any intermediates. We try to own the entire customer experience. You will see in my presentation that it will be a lot about customer experience because it's very essential to run an e-commerce company in general, but with a focus on home and living even more. Today, we're selling over 100 products exclusively under the Mokebo brand. So you can find those products nowhere else in the e-commerce. That's an important focus for us. And we are in the midst of building up a new venture, which is Mokeko, a consultancy, because we learned that there are so much complexities in these in this infrastructure of home and living that we want to help other brands, but also other suppliers and sellers to go online and sell furniture, home and living products online. Today, the agenda for today, for this presentation, is about furniture, bootstrapping, direct-to-consumer, and why the match of all of that is the customer experience I already mentioned. A little bit about the state of the furniture industry today. I think it's an interesting industry, but with lots of complexities and lots of things we need to do to develop this vertical. And in the end, I want to talk about 4 habits we at Mokebo identified for ourselves, what we believe makes us and potentially other direct-to-consumer brands successful to run a controlled, bootstrapped company in complex industries, on our example in home and living. Why it's all about customer experience. What I tend to say is direct-to-consumer and bootstrapping touches every chain of consumption. If you look about it, most of you will know the chain of consumption. It starts with awareness, it ends with loyalty, it ends with retention of customers buying a second time, a third time, a fourth time. And direct-to-consumer really touches every step of this. If you work in retail and you sell products maybe directly to Amazon or directly to Otto, you touch not every phase of a customer that creates a demand, looks out for products, decides what product he wants to buy, buys it, and maybe has questions after it. Direct-to-consumer touches all of them, which makes it even more important to really know what you're doing and excel in all of those areas. All of those areas also are about customer experience. When we talk about furniture or home and living, it requires in-depth customer experience because of the nature of the product. A sofa is a product that never been really sold that much online in the last 10 years. It's growing as a product category in e-commerce, but you need a lot of information from product pictures, imageries, videos, explanations, AR, VR tools and stuff, and so on. So customer experience and optimize against this core input is really key in this industry, in this vertical. D2C or hybrid D2C, I will talk about later what I see as hybrid D2C, enables you, again, to control customer experience along the entire chain of consumption. You have control over prices, you have control over the content, pictures, how you describe your products, product description and stuff, but also the after sales, which is a very important part nowadays. If you aim for retention of your customers, if you aim for long-living customer relationships, direct-to-consumer enables you to have a lot of control and a lot of opportunities to work with your customer. So it's all about customer experience here. And bootstrapping, in the end, forces the people in my company. We are a company of about 14 people now. It forces you to focus on inputs, to define what is the input you want to look at for your company, which for our company is definitely the customer experience. And bootstrapping shows you to forces everyone to focus on it. What do we want to do? What do we need to do to be successful in customer experience? Because we don't have colliding expectations from investors or other members of the board. We can focus on ourselves, but then we need to even more handle with little amounts of cash, focusing on the right inputs. So bootstrapping really helps you to have even more focus on customer experience. Talking about a complex industry, talking about home and living, and why we are looking at this industry. It's a quite dynamic market. The TAM, or total addressable market, how you call it, is really high. We talk about a 300 billion euro market in Europe for home and living. This also includes other products, accessories, pillows, candles, and all this stuff. But it is a big market where the online part of it is fairly small, with 10%. If you compare that with other verticals like fashion, electronics, there are lots of examples where you don't see this high amount of stationary revenue share versus online. So it's a big potential, but it's also very complex because you need to tackle a market that is growing, but that is right now significantly smaller than other verticals that are way more in e-commerce today. While looking on the right side, it is still to be seen that the growth is also very dynamic. You have a stationary or brick and mortar growth of about 1%, so flat. You know, there is not a lot of growth in online. If you look at numbers from IKEA that doubled their e-commerce share to now over 30% of products being sold online through IKEA.de, which is a huge number, right? Looking where we come from in this industry, it's growing double-digit numbers. With 11% year over year, sometimes more, sometimes less. Also depends on what the pandemic really did with 2021 to this vertical. But generally, you can see there is a lot of potential and also a lot of growth. Yeah, we want to double down on that. That's why we decided to tackle this market with Mokebo, with our direct-to-consumer brand. But we also identified that doing a bootstrap, deciding that from the get-go, we want to do it with our own cash. We want to generate our own cash, and we want to control as much as possible through the entire chain of consumption. We also needed to come up with habits on how we run our company, how we run our startup, and how we develop things, and how we want to treat those habits today and also in 5 or 10 years, because we stay true to those habits and act upon them also in the future. So talking about the 4 habits of bootstrapping in a complex industry, for other companies or brands or e-commerce brands, those might apply as well. It's habits that my co-founder and me came up with and are living still today. I will go through all of them in a little more detail now. Stay lean on tools, data, and technology is the first one. Use marketplaces as your private investors is the second one. And stick to your North Star, the third one. And then the last habit will be execute well, fast, and automated. So starting with the first one, stay lean on tools, data, and technology is quite important because it helps you navigate through circumstances that are not foreseeable. I think that all of us here today understand that we are in quite a complex situation for entire commerce, but especially e-commerce. Quarter one of 2021, all of us got boosted like 3 years in the future with revenues. We all thought, okay, wow, now e-commerce is really on the forefront. Tech companies, stock prices were through the roof. And now we are here like 1 year later and everything is like opposite direction, right? We have talks about a post-pandemic inflation. We have talks about human crisis in Europe and stuff. So stay lean on tools, tech, and data is really what helped us. First of all, define your tech stack requirements. What I mean with that is do yourself a gap analysis of showing what business processes do I have in my company. Starting from procurement, you know, how do you get your products? Going over organizational building, what communication tools are you using, what project management tools are you using, but also other tools and workflows like accounting. Where all can I speed up my leanness and my vast using of technology in tools for different processes, and where's the gap? What do I need to close? Still today, Mokebo has flows that could be more automated and could be used with more technology, but I think the habit of thinking lean about it and thinking where do I really need a service for what process can really be automated in the long run really helps us to rethink it over and over again. So that's really important. Workflow automation technologies are the key to success. We have a habit that we are extremely picky about manual processes in our team. When we do something manual, if it's supply chain orders or if it's marketing activities on Google Shopping or Amazon advertising, we try to solve it with automation and try to solve it with next time we do something manual, we write a playbook how to automate it in the third time it happens, and can we use data and technology for it. Still, when having like this such madness about lean technology, data, workflow automation in everything you do in your company, stay agile. It's another buzzword, but it's really important because it helps you to think about is your brand process or your situation and your setup of workflows able to also cover 10x of the revenue you're doing today? Can your company and your organization and the way you're doing things in your different departments, from content to marketing to after sales, customer success, can also scale linear with the revenue you're generating? That's also very important, and really important in times like today, like last 12 months. Quarter one last year was tremendously big. Quarter one this year was tremendously slow. So you need to stay lean and focus that your tools and your workflows can shrink and grow with you. Best times, obviously, is growing. Use marketplaces as your private investors. I used to work for Amazon Marketplace. I was an account manager and I was acquiring new sellers to the Amazon Marketplace. And the most things we heard all the time when we were calling sellers and asking like, hey, Philip from Amazon, I like your online shop for socks, please start selling on Amazon. They were like, no, my brand doesn't fit to Amazon. I don't want to see my brand on Amazon or stuff. And I was like, beginning with the days already saying like, use them, make them your private investor. Understand what they want from you, and Amazon and Otto and eBay, maybe new marketplaces coming up like Home24. Use what they want from you, apply to the rules they expect from you, but also utilize the growth you can gain out of them. I'm calling it hybrid D2C because for me it's still you're touching the customer. You have maybe a seller brand where you're selling selection vertically on marketplaces. You have full control over pricing, however, a higher control about customer experience, content, and marketing. Why it's not total control, like if you're doing it just direct to consumer, it's because you have a product detail page on Amazon that tells you title can be maximum so long, you have 5 bullet points, what you can do on the enhanced brand content, like the content pieces on the bottom is ABC. You cannot do more than that. But the platforms are doing a lot to present more and more opportunities and options to the brands and sellers. So you have a higher control about customer experience than selling the product directly to a retailer and doing no direct to consumer. The customer acquisition is partly outsourced to the platform. Commerce and after sales lay with the seller or the seller brand. Again, that is direct to consumer. You can work with the customer. You can grow a relationship with the customer. You cannot tell the customer, go on Mokibo.de next time you buy, but you can make sure that the customer is really happy, that he understands that he bought with a brand. He bought a brand. He's not buying any no-name white label product from Amazon. He bought a Mokibo furniture piece, like a sofa or a cabinet or a beanbag from Mokibo. Maybe next time he comes back and he thinks about, hey, I'd like to have a cool pillow or something. I'm coming to Mokibo directly. Whereas in direct-to-consumer, all efforts lay with the brand. If you do that, you can gain significant growth through those marketplaces, because what are they doing? They are accumulating over 75% of the entire unique visitors in e-commerce. If you sell in Germany, if you're selling on Amazon, Otto, and eBay, you have 75% of the reach in e-commerce. So why ignoring that? When you can understand how to leverage the platform, how to apply to the rules, but also make them generating the cash that you as a bootstrap direct-to-consumer company needs to stay in control and to focus on customer experience. The third habit we came up then is, okay, we are bootstrapped. We can experiment, but we can literally not experiment as much as investor-backed startups that can literally blow up teams of marketing teams or content creation teams or big customer success teams, try out a lot of things, do lots of campaigns on different advertising channels. If it doesn't work, throw it away next time. They can afford a lot of not being profitable at all. We cannot do that, so we came up with the North Star metric, which is a metric that was invented by the director of growth from Facebook back in the day. And the metric is quite cool because it forces you to focus on just one metric that best captures the value of your company, or in other words, if this KPI is growing over time, your company value will grow as well. If you think about Spotify, time spent listening is their North Star metric. So that means just if they are able to, whatever feature they're offering, if they add podcasts, exclusive podcasts, if they add your mixtape and everything else, they always do it for one reason: increase the time spent listening per user. Because if that grows, the company value grows, the people get more and more bought into the company. Amazon obviously purchases per Prime customer when we talk about the retail and e-commerce business of Amazon. The more customers are Prime, the more they are engaging in Prime purchases, the more they tend to also use additional services of Prime. You know, Amazon Music, Cloud Drive, etc. For us, we came up again. We need customer experience focus. That's our sole focus. It's complex. The nature of our product is very complicated. Sell a sofa online. When we sold a sofa, the customer tends to keep it for 20 years. So what is the one KPI that really captures the growth and the value of Mokibo? And we came up with earnings per first-time purchaser, because we understand that the first sale, wherever it be, if it's on our own web shop, if it's on Amazon, if it's on Otto, in the future, maybe on Home24 or Wayfair, the first sale needs to be profitable for us. And we need to build all our organization, our e-commerce organization around that value, because we understand we need to focus on cash, because we need cash to invest into our customer experience, because we don't have big investors that we want to fail on experiments. We need to do lots of experiments, but we need to focus ourselves a lot, and especially for products of that AOV, average order value, with that long product cycles like sofas or cabinets. It's really focus, and that's our North Star. So I can really give this idea, and it's also for services the same one. I think North Star metric is the one where you can really sit down with your executive team and say, okay guys, so what is capturing the value of our company best? This is the one value I want to see in every quarterly, in every half yearly, in every OP meeting. I want to see that value. The fourth habit, execute well, fast, and automated. We came up with the sum of using a lot of data, using a lot of technology, automating as much as we can, but also adding to it a very efficient process of operational excellence. How are we moving a sofa from the producer from Poland very efficiently to the end customer by looking at our North Star metric, by looking at that we show everything that is important for a sofa to our customers, from cost-free fabric samples, over product videos on the detail pages, over good descriptions, looking for reviews. But what in general is what lays behind all those processes is good data, good tools, in-house developed or external developed, and we have lots of cool services here. And the sum of it is, in the end, again, closes the loop. You have lean structures and lean operations to really lean on and automate your business. And we just not only did we have post-pandemic situations, but also we had a situation at Mokebo in December last year, one day after the Black Friday, where the production of our biggest supplier, right in the middle of Germany, made in Germany products, burned to the ground, and over 8,000 Mokebo packages were burned to the ground as well. So we had quite a hectic December, because at that time it was about 60% of our revenue. So we just stick to our habits and say, okay, fucking hell, that is quite amazing. What are we doing now? How can we move our processes that we can overcome this situation? We don't know when the producer will be able to produce products somewhere else in Poland or somewhere else in Europe. We don't know when he's coming back. So what are we going to stick now? So we stayed what we said. We stayed lean, we stayed agile. We tried, okay, marketing needs to be turned away from those products, need to be turned to what are sweet spots of our other products that, for example, as per Google Trends, are trending a lot in December that are not from this big supplier. How can we turn our processes around to get through the situation? What in our staffing culture, our biggest habit was we want the people. We want those. We believe that the organization we've built is the right organization, so we didn't need to fire any person, but we said, hey, we have our North Star metric, first purchaser profitability, but we also have another KPI called revenue per employee, which also is something that helped us through it, because we said, okay, if you have a good lean structure with the least possible employees in our team, we can overcome that by using tools, redirecting our marketing efficiencies, trying to get even more into customer retention with existing customers from other producers, like from big cabinets, like from sofas, like from beanbags, and try to overcome it like this. So we executed well on the day. 8,000 Mokebo packages burned to the ground. We started to act. At the end of December, we were in a situation that we could keep a minimum level of revenue to stay break even and use all that we had, the private investors as marketplaces, to gain enough cash with other suppliers to get over the situation. So that was also quite important to me, and showed me that you know, being fast, using automation, using focus on creating not too much overhead in your organization really helped us here a lot. Yeah, on time. Thanks for listening. As said, we are building up a consultation. So if someone has another brand, another seller from the home and living industry has same questions like where do we stand, what can we automate, how can we use marketplaces as our private investors, you can reach out to me. Thanks for listening. Really cool. And yeah, if you have questions.
As you told, there is 90 to 10% distribution from online and offline sales, right?
Can you repeat that?
90% is offline and 10% is online.
Yes.
Can you please throw some light? What could be the key factors affecting, the customers, why they are not going online in home and living?
So why the customers tend to still stay stationary? Yeah, I think we are in a big change process, and it's by design. You know, if you look at products like a sofa, we see in our data that a customer returns 13 times until he buys a sofa. 13 times. If you look at low involvement products like little handy phone packages or something, the involvement is very low. The people see an advertising once and they buy directly. We need 13 touch points to get a customer to buy a sofa, which shows the nature of the product. People are still quite hesitant to buy online because They want to sit on a couch. They want to understand how the cabinet looks in real, like how the doors behave and stuff. So there is a lot of explanation needed to be done, and that's why I'm talking so much about customer experience, because we need to have things like videos, someone throwing himself on the couch, fabric samples for free so they can touch on the fabric. But there is a lot of questions customers still have to say, I want to sit on this couch, I want to feel the fabric, that we need to answer and we need to invent on behalf of the customer. So I think that's the reason why 9 out of 10 still buy a sofa offline. However, I believe that we are in a process of change here, because it's one of the last e-commerce verticals that is moving towards online, and we are betting that this will be changing in the next years.
Just a quick question. First of all, why don't you mention the brands on your website? As far as I could see, you don't mention them. That's one. Second is, how did you decide, and why did you decide not to take in any investors in your business?
Yeah. First question is, we are a direct-to-consumer brand, so every product you see from Mokebo is exclusively sold through our brand. So we work with different producers because we want to offer the full range of home and living products, from a sofa to a beanbag to a light table lamp. And we work with producers, but say it's exclusively sold through us. So it's our brand. We don't have any other brands to leverage on. The question was if we design it ourselves. Yeah, we design ourselves. Mostly when we start working with a new producer, we talk with him very openly on what you can do really good, what do we see from data on all our tools, what price range, what fabric, what sizes, and then they tend to do the first design, and from those designs on the second or third launches, we work very closely in enhancing our products. And the second question was, why didn't we take investors? That's because we wanted to have the full control. We wanted not colliding expectation in what we do. I think sometimes we do things a little differently. There were investors we talked to in the past that said, just focus on your own web shop. Don't do marketplaces, it's killing your brand. And I was like, that's not my DNA. You know, I can't present Mokebo as nice as on Home24 like I can do it on Mokebo.de. So we said the full focus using marketplaces to generate the cash we need and stay in control as long as possible, to really control the entire chain of consumption was the reason behind doing it on my own.